Coming right up, Straight Talk with Art Levine. Our guests tonight, the candidates for City Attorney for the City of Long Beach, Charlie Parkin and James Johnson, as we continue our 22nd anniversary year.
Straight Talk is brought to you in part by the Port of Long Beach, a leader in international trade and environmental stewardship. And the Press Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years. And Scan Health Plan, for your health and independence.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. Our guests for the show tonight are the candidates running for City Attorney for the City of Long Beach, Charlie Parkin and James Johnson. Gentlemen, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Charlie, why are you running for City Attorney?
Well, I'm running for City Attorney because I've been in that office for 19 years and I want to continue with the work that I've been doing. I think that we've got a great office. We need to continue that momentum, and I believe that we have a big change coming in the City of Long Beach, and they need an experienced city attorney to help them with those changes that are coming.
James, same question. Why are you running for City Attorney?
Well, first, Art, I want to thank you for having me on the show. It's a great opportunity to be here. You know, Art, I think Long Beach needs a proven leader as the next city attorney. I'm proud of what I've done already at the City of Long Beach over the last 8 years. I helped take pension abuses to pension reform. I helped take budget deficits to a budget surplus. I think the City Council needs, as the governing body of course, our beautiful city, great proactive legal advice from a proven leader who can stand up to the special interests and get the job done, and I think I'm that person.
James, as you mentioned, you've been a city councilman for a number of years, and by all reports, had you chosen to run for city council again, which you could have, you would have, in all probability, be handily reelected. Why did you decide to change and run for the city attorney's job as opposed to staying as a city councilman?
Well, Art, I am obviously finishing my first term as city council, but when thinking about whether to run for re-election or run for city attorney, I really thought about the biggest question I've dealt with over the last 8 years of the city, which is, where's the money going? You know, I've really seen we're paying now more taxes than ever at the City of Long Beach, but we're getting less. Why is that? 20% fewer police officers. We've eliminated parks programs, less library hours. Why are we paying more and getting less? I think that's a central question of our times. I think the answer is bad legal contracts, particularly that have been passed in the past, and I realize as the next city attorney, I can do a lot more to help the city because if the money's there through these good contracts, public safety, parks, libraries, all those things will do very well.
Charlie, would you agree with the implication of James's answer that the city attorney has a role in pension reform?
Well, the city attorney has a role in pretty much everything that's on the agenda. So in that aspect, yes, we have a role to provide our client with legal advice when they make these difficult decisions. And the pension decisions made in 2002 were made by the City Council in 3 separate council actions. And on the contracts, I completely disagree with James. He hasn't pointed to any contracts that I believe that he's indicated where we have lost money because of the contract itself. So we provide the advice to the council to make the difficult decisions. We execute and do those contracts to get the council what they want to do, to implement their policy. So it's not the role of the city attorney to go out and say that this is a bad idea or a good idea. Our job is to tell them, if you want to do this, here's what we think you can do and what you can't do legally, what we think it will cost and won't cost, and here are the risks implicated in that. And then our job is to implement it.
James, a lot of people would applaud your leadership and effort to get pension reform, but they would just question whether the city attorney's role is the right place to do that, or whether you should continue doing that as a council person. And Charlie referenced the vote of the city council, you were not on it, back in 2002 that granted a 30% increase in pensions for just a freebie, which was an outrageous vote, and we're still paying the price for that.
Right, Art. Well, the reason I'm running for city attorney is I think the city attorney actually is the most important position on these issues. Look, in 2002, why did a unanimous city council all vote for this contract? These were good people. How do they all get it wrong? I realized, well, you know what? They weren't told that the person proposing it, he himself was going to go home with probably over $1 million in his pocket that night. They weren't told about the legal conflict of interest. They weren't advised by their city attorney of that. They weren't advised that this is a retroactive increase, that, you know what, it wasn't for future years' work, but for past years' work. In other words, that legal loophole wasn't explained. And finally, they weren't given the financial documents. They were told it was going to cost nothing when it cost us hundreds of millions of dollars. I believe if the city council had been properly advised by their city attorney, it would have been 9-0 to oppose that same contract. So I think legal advice is critical to getting the job done.
Charlie, I'll give you a chance to answer in a second. Just for the record, you were not the city attorney.
I was not the city attorney in 2002.
Go ahead and please respond.
And I completely disagree with James. They knew it was retroactive. That's how AB 616 was passed by the Assembly and signed by the governor. So that was fully informed. They were fully aware of that. I don't know where James is getting this information. It's simply not true. The city attorneys, they offered, and there was in the report that they did not know exactly how much money, but they had estimates of millions of dollars in increased costs. The city auditor was there to advise them on the financial implications. Our office was to advise them on the legal implications. This was legal. Cities throughout the state of California entered into these exact same types of agreements.
Just for the record, the state law permitted municipalities to grant these increases. It did not mandate it.
That's correct. AB 616 permitted cities to increase the pension benefit.
And most cities jumped through the hoop and did it.
And most cities passed this. Yeah. So Long Beach wasn't unique, wasn't by itself. There weren't legal issues that came to bear that other people didn't know about. Now, hindsight, sitting here today, it's easy to say, oh, that was a terrible decision.
James, I personally would take your point that people were asleep at the switch, but I think the city auditor could have weighed in and others could have weighed in, but I don't quite see your point on the city attorney having a role there.
The city attorney is the primary advisor on all legal matters, including contracts. Pensions are fundamentally an employment contract. So the city auditor has a role after the fact. But if you're looking for who's the advisor on an employment contract, it is the Long Beach city attorney. There's no doubt about it. So the question is, should he be advising the council and giving good counsel, or just saying what the bare legal minimum is? I think they should provide good counsel.
Okay, we've, I think, exhausted this point, and we'll come back with more of our show after these messages.
At the Port of Long Beach, we're not only delivering jobs, smart ideas, and forward-thinking environmental initiatives. We're also delivering opportunity for all of Southern California. Oh, and a clearer horizon line. To learn more, go to POLB.com. The Port of Long Beach, thinking outside the docks.
Hello, I'm Jessica Hardy, a proud Long Beach native and a member of the USA Swimming national team. Having spent much of my life in water, I've developed a deep appreciation for the valuable role that this precious resource plays in our lives. In recent years, California's water supply has become unreliable. To address this reality, Long Beach residents have dramatically reduced their water use through permanent lifestyle changes. In doing so, Long Beach has made itself a leader in water conservation. As I work hard to achieve my personal goal of qualifying for the 2012 Summer Olympics, I encourage you to continue your tremendous efforts to use water in smart and responsible ways. So join me and your fellow Long Beach residents in strengthening the water conservation movement. By making small but significant changes in our water use habits, together we can ensure that we have a reliable water supply for many generations to come.
The Renaissance Leisure Fair for a joust and a turkey leg. Fun for the whole family. There's food, performances of all kinds. Food! Hundreds of shops offering unique handmade works of art. A collection of games. Food! Play RenQuest and live your own legend. We like turkey. Come, join in the fun. Renaissance Pleasure Fair.
The Renaissance Pleasure Fair, where fantasy rules. RENFAIR.com.